Okay, welcome to this session on Photoshop. We're going to get into Photoshop, we're going to get crazy with Photoshop, and you're going to learn some awesome things soon enough. But first, we have to talk about some boring things, like how to find good images. I've been working with students for a long time, and not all of them are digital designers, and I understand that, but I'm going to make sure that all of you know how to find a good quality image to start with, because no great project starts with a crappy image. It doesn't work that way. So, we're going to dive into how to find good copyright-free images that you can use in your work, and hopefully it's somewhat fun. So let's get started. Let's go over to a browser and let's talk about the way that most of you find images. Google Images. Let's go to Google. Okay, why don't we do a search for something? I don't know, let's go pirate, because pirate is cool. We'll go to images here. And then you get a bunch of images, and some of you just right click and save image as, and you think you've done a good job. There's a lot more to it than that. I'm going to show you some tools, techniques, and tricks to figure out if it's even a good image to start with. Okay, most of you know what pixelization is. Let's do a search on pixelization. Pixelated image. Okay, it's when it's got these little jaggies in it. All right, it's reminiscent of the 90s era of internet, when the internet was slow and it had to load this part of the image, and then you get a little better quality and a little better quality until finally the whole image loaded like 10 minutes later. So that's pixelization. We want to stay away from that, and how we stay away from that is to get a high quality image. So let's start with Google, and we'll show you some tools here. So one thing we can do is hit this tools button right here, and we can go over to size, and we can go to large. Now, if I still right click here and save an image as, that still doesn't give me a large image, and I'll prove all that in just a second. But a couple things I wanted to point out and to mention, and I wouldn't be a good teacher if I didn't say that copyright law is a real thing. I've had several friends in the industry who got in trouble because they stole images, okay? This is a common thing, and former students who have stolen images. And the bots are getting better, okay? I know you know about the bots because you guys are YouTubers. Bots will find you. So we're not stealing images in class, okay? It's not what we're here for. You can go to usage rights and go to Creative Commons, and that should help you out too, because Creative Commons kind of lets you do whatever you want with it. And we're not going to get into detail on copyright law. Just be aware that you can't steal any image you want and just throw it into a professional project, especially when you go out into the industry or your internships and you start making money. Really bad idea, okay? So we'll just hit that. Now, I mentioned that I can't just right click on it. Now you notice also a lot of crappy images popped up because of Creative Commons. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to just all for right now, because I'm the teacher and I can click on whatever the heck I want. All right, so let's just take this picture. Now this one's cooler. Let's go this one, all right? So what we wanna do is talk about resolution. What is resolution? Resolution has to do with how many pixels are in an image, usually defined by a mathematical formula of horizontal pixels to vertical pixels. You've heard it a lot. You've heard things called 1080p or 4K. These have to do with pixels, and you don't have to know everything about it. I'll give you guys a basic guideline of what I would consider the start of a high quality image, and we're just gonna say 1920 by 1080 pixels, okay? So the 1920 is horizontal pixels, and the 1080 is vertical pixels. Get it? And just because I hit large here in Google doesn't mean I've actually got a large image. So let me show you guys how to kind of tell. So if I look at this image and I right click and I save image as, I'll just throw it in a little temp folder for our unit here. And it's just called download. It doesn't really matter, but I'll call it pirate. I'll hit save. How do I know what size image this is? Well, there's tools I can use here. Those of you guys who are going into web design are going to love this. We'll hit F12 here, and I could have hit right click and inspect. I can click this button right here. I can click on that, and I get 220 by 220. That's how many pixels it is, and I'll prove it to you. See over here, width 220, height 220. Now, remember I said 1920 by 1080 is what we're going for, and we have 220 by 220. So that image I just downloaded, very tiny, and I can prove it to you. Some of you still don't believe me. It's okay. Show in folder. I'll go ahead and double click this, open it up, and you can see it's a pretty small image. How do I know? When I zoom in, I get pixelization. Okay, I can't tell you how many students will just download this image right here and think this is high quality. It is not. You fail. Pixelization is evil. Okay, so how do I get a higher resolution image of this? Let's go back over here to Google. I will go ahead and close out this. But this is a super handy, useful tool, F12. Those of you who are going into web design, you're going to spend a lot of time in this area doing cool stuff on the web. Anyway, so if I click this, I get this image and it says 2000 by 2000. Well, hold on a minute. This one said 220 by 220. This one's saying 2000 by 2000. This would constitute, by the standard I just gave you, 1920 by 1080, a high quality image that we could use. Keep in mind, of course, there's this copyright here. There's a watermark here to keep you from stealing it. But don't worry, I'm not going to steal it today. I'm just showing students about high quality images. So I'm not actually stealing this image for myself. So don't worry. So what we could do is inspect this again. I'll hit F12. I'll get that same handy dandy right here and click on this. And you can see it's 400 by 400. Even though it says 2000 by 2000, I'm actually only getting a 400 by 400 image here. Now again, let me just prove stuff to you because I'm a teacher and that's what I do. I'll right click here and I will save image as again. And we've got that same place here. We'll call it Pirate 2. Now keep in mind this is a WebP file. It's not even a JPEG. So I have to convert it if I really want to use it for anything. But I'll go Pirate 2. It's not even a JPEG. So I don't even know if I can open this up except for with a web app. I don't know, Paint I could probably open up, but I don't like Paint. Paint's the devil. Okay. Let's see how many pixels this actually is. Now it is actually 2000 by 2000 pixels. Interesting. Okay, now we can't typically use this format for anything, so we'd have to convert it, but I will tell you this, Photoshop will open this and convert it to whatever you want. So I can take this and make it a high quality image. All right. A lot of you guys know you're supposed to click on this image and go to the website, but then you find out they just want to sell you something, even though it says free pick. Is it really free? In fact, where did my image even go? Where's my pirate image? I don't know. You just get into this kind of dark hole. There it is. We finally find it. So I'll click on it and it wants me to go premium to download. And I could right click here and save this image as. Again, it's WebP, same file, whatever. Okay, you don't want to spend all that time going to a website, and typically you don't want to steal an image, which I can tell you right now, this one would be kind of be like stealing because when I went to Creative Commons, it disappeared. Now, that's a lot of boring talk. Takeaways from this. I want you to start thinking about pixels and resolution. I want you to not just download any old image you want, especially when you get to upper levels and you start using this to make money with. You're a student now, you can get away with it. But when you go to an internship, when you go out into the real world, you can't just steal any image you want off of the internet. Doesn't work that way, okay? So hopefully that helps you understand high resolution a little bit better. You can also look at file sizes. If we go over here and show in folder and we go view details, you can see I have 8 kilobytes. That's the 200 by 200 tiny image. Well, 225 by 225 right there. It even says dimensions right there. And then this one, which is 2000 by 2000. Again, Photoshop's awesome and it will open this, but really you wouldn't ever use this format. And notice it's a lot bigger file, 260 kilobytes versus 8. So it's got a lot more resolution, a lot more pixels, a lot more detail, okay? Now, I don't typically want you using Google to find your images. There are better things out there. And with that, let's go over to Moodle. Okay, so over here in Moodle, I'm signed in as a student. All you need to know is Mr. Taylor's room is awesome. It's room 110, and that's where we'll be teaching you how to be a Photoshop ninja, like myself. Some of you will be better than me at Photoshop, and that always makes me proud, like a proud father of a ninja. Okay, so we're on day 2, image quality here. And right here I have Pexels free royalty-free images and Unsplash royalty-free images. These images you can use for whatever you want, and they're really high quality. So let's go over to Pexels and see if we can't find a pirate or something cool. Again, these are great websites for finding really high quality images to use on your websites, on your projects, on your presentations, even some of your own personal projects. They even have video. So those of you guys who are into video production will definitely get into that. So I'm just gonna type in pirate. I don't know what I'm gonna get here. Might not get anything. Pirate ship. These are mostly photos, not so much illustrations. Illustrations take more time and effort. And I can't see us using this for much of anything. But I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe a pirate ship. This looks cool. So what we can do here is download this image. You can see it's pretty high resolution when I click on it. Well, first let me show you something called more info, and then we can see it's got 3,648 by 5,472 pixels. So much higher quality than those other images we found on Google. And you'll find that most of the time, the people on these Pexels and Unsplash, they're really professional. They have really nice cameras and they're taking high-res images and then they're sharing them for free. Super cool. So that's how you find out exactly how much resolution this image has. Then I can hit download for free and it will pop up and I can download it. I like to rename it. This one I'm just going to call Pirate Ship. Whatever. All right. I'm going to go to that image, show in folder, double click on it. And as you can see, it's got lots of resolution. So we could do some cool stuff with this image. Another thing you can do is you can right click. Those of you who are like into networking might like this. You can go to properties and you can go to details and then I can find out that same information. Now, this stuff right here, all this stuff I'm looking for is called metadata. It'll probably be on the test. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Nick Cage will be on the test. Who knows? But there'll be a quiz at the end of this Photoshop unit. And one of the things I want you to know about is metadata. So you've got dimensions as metadata. Usually you have a title and a subject and an author. This person didn't care enough to put that information in, but they could have. And today I'm going to show you how to do that in Photoshop. But keep in mind this stuff's useful for you when you're finding high quality images. You can find the dimensions. You can find this DPI, which stands for dots per inch. I can definitely tell you that will be on the quiz. And 72 DPI. Now, 72 DPI, 72 is used for digital design. So any kind of screen, video game, web, all that is 72 DPI. And then when you get to print, when you're printing papers or flyers or folders, anything in the real world that you print, that's 300 DPI. Will that be on the test? Yes, it will. Okay, so memorize it. That was all super boring, so let's go into Photoshop and I'll show you just a quick image manipulation and then how to save it, how to turn in assignments for this course. Yes, today is going to be a little bit boring, but tomorrow it's going to get awesome, I promise. Let's go to Photoshop. Cam, over here in Photoshop, if you can't open Photoshop by yourself, then you fail. Just kidding, ask me, I'll show you. It's pretty simple. You just type in Photoshop and hopefully you all have it installed. Just type in right here, Photoshop. You can't see it on my screen, but it pops up, you hit enter, boom. This opens up and we're just gonna open a file. So I am gonna highly encourage you to learn hotkeys and I'll be throwing them out there, but I'll also show you the menu so that you can kind of feel safe on the menu and then learn the hotkeys because there will be hotkeys on the test, promise that. So we'll just go ahead and open and on your computer, those temp files are in here. I'm going to open this pirate ship, hit open, and there it is. Cool. So as promised, I'll show you a quick image manipulation, something you'll probably use at some point. Let's pretend this was taken in the 1800s before they had cameras, and somehow they still managed to take a picture without a camera. So we're going to make it black and white, real quick and easy, and then I'll show you how to do metadata. So if we just go to Image Adjustments, we can go to Hue and Saturation. This little pop up on your screen, and we'll just take saturation all the way down. Notice now we have a black and white image. Super cool, or not, just whatevs. I'll hit OK. Now we have manipulated the image and we're going to save it out. But first, we're going to save it with some metadata. Okay? So to save in metadata, we just go File, File Info. And just knowing this puts you ahead of a lot of other students because not a lot of people know about metadata in general. And it's going to become a bigger thing in the future because of deep faking. They're going to attach a lot more info to files and kind of force that to stay in there, probably with like blockchain technology. Anyway, let's go ahead and give this some changes. This will be your assignment. So you're going to take an image from Pexels or Unsplash, a high quality image, and you're going to add this info in. You're going to make that little change to it. And you can even do something cool. If you know how to do Photoshop already and you're way ahead of the game here, you can do something way cool too and impress me. I always like it when my students impress me. Okay, so we're just going to call this Pirate Ship circa 1850 because I'm pretty sure they had black and white cameras back then. I don't think they did. Okay, and then author, we're going to call this Taylor Sensei. I am now your Taylor Sensei. And you can give it a description. We're going to give it a 5-star rating because it's pretty much the coolest image of all time. And I think that's about it. All right. This is metadata. We could put a lot more stuff in here. We don't need to. Author, also Taylor Sensei. Perfect. Because I am the Taylor Sensei, and I will be your captain throughout this pirate journey called Photoshop. All right, so now we're going to save this out. File, save as. Now notice it wants to save to computer, save to Creative Cloud. I think I want you guys to be saving to Creative Cloud and providing me with a link to the file. That way I can see when you've manipulated your file in Photoshop. You can save them as Photoshop files. You're going to need to save as other formats too though, so real quick I'm going to show you how to do that. Then we'll come back and save it to the Creative Cloud. So if I save to my computer, I can navigate to wherever I want. JPEG is a lot of times what we're going to be using for web or any of your presentations, any kind of thing like that. You can use JPEG. We'll use PNG in a little bit, probably even on the next assignment, because PNGs allow us to save alpha channels, which are really cool, and you're going to learn all about that. But most of the time, probably just going to use a JPEG, so it's already a JPEG. I will just call this one black, white, right? And then I'd hit save, and then it would save that out. It's going to ask image quality right here. You don't have to go all the way up to maximum. You're really not going to notice a difference in the image. You could keep it at just high, and it's going to be fine. And even right here, it shows you how big the file will be, 1.7 megs. I believe when we downloaded it was 6 megs. Let's just leave it for a second, see? Yeah, 3.5 megs if we save it as maximum. But you don't have to do that. This is going to be plenty right here. I'll hit OK. It's going to save that out. Now I'm going to save it to the cloud, and I am going to ask that you guys save your files to the cloud. Why? Because no matter what computer you're on in the world, if you have an internet connection, you can work on your files. So that's the cool thing about the Creative Cloud. You go File, Save As, and then we'll save to Creative Cloud, give it a name, and then let me show you how to share that on Creative Cloud. We'll hit Save, and then what's really cool is you can go to File, Invite. Yours might say Share, but File, Invite. It's going to pop up, and it's going to allow you to get a link to share with me in Moodle. And that's how you're going to turn in files for this class. You can also hit this little share icon right here. While that was loading, it made me think that sometimes something might break in Creative Cloud. If that ever happens, I always accept files in Google Drive. All you do is you take a file, let's say this file, you right click and you share. And you just copy this link and put it in Moodle, and then I'll be able to get it. Okay, but preferably, I'd like you to use Creative Cloud. So let's go back to the Photoshop, Creative Cloud, and you can invite people. So what you can do is just copy this link, but first you need to make sure you invite me up here, ben.taylor@mtchs.org, or you can change this right here so that anyone with a link can view. And that will also work. But make sure either you do this or you invite ben.taylor@mtchs.org, okay? Then you copy this link right here. You go over to Moodle, you turn in the assignment down here, add submission. It's going to ask you that you didn't plagiarize. Of course not, you would never do that. And then you just put this link in. Now, this is where it gets crazy, and I get very frustrated when students don't pay attention to this. So this is very important to Mr. Taylor and a lot of other teachers. Don't just paste the link in here. You need to select this, hit this button, and put the link in here. Control V. Open in a new window, okay? That creates a link I can click on. Of course, I didn't put it on everything. I mean, it's very simple, but yet a lot of students never do this. It takes a couple extra steps on your part, but it makes your teacher super happy. So let's go through that process again. I can type in anything like my submission of awesomeness and glory and wonder. Okay, Mr. Vondry would love this, your English teacher. All right, actually, he's not your English teacher for another 2 years or whatever, but whatever. Okay, so you can type in whatever you want here. You hit this button, and you Control V, and you hit Open a new window. You hit Create Link, and then I have this clickable link. Hit Save Changes, and that's how you turn in a submission. Okay, I know I talk really fast. I know this was kind of boring today. I promise you, tomorrow it gets awesome, especially if you like Pokemon. If you don't like Pokemon, it won't be awesome. Whatever. Doesn't matter. You're still going to do it because you're going to become a Photoshop ninja. This is Taylor. I'll see you tomorrow. But first, a quick recap. In order to be a great Photoshopper or a digital artist, it starts with great images. How do you find great images? Well, you need to make sure you have some high resolution, and you need to make sure you didn't steal the image. So, using a great website like Unsplash or Pexels.com, Those are great ways to find very high quality images, usually shot by a professional, completely free to use on whatever project you want. And then of course, metadata. That's the information you save within an image. You can put your own information in there, like who took the picture and what kind of camera you used, but it also provides useful information on what size the image is and what quality you might be expecting from it. Hopefully that helps you out. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Taylor out.